This video explains wing foil jibes and mistakes that can easily spoil them. These are filmed in light wind as you're more likely to struggle in light wind. Let's begin with the Heelside to Toeside jibe. Ride crosswind and try to build some speed. Ride quite a bit faster than the minimum speed you require to foil. Next, start the carve downwind. To carve downwind, slowly shift your weight forwards onto your toes. This is fairly easy to do as the wing pulls that way. Keep your wing powered as you roll forwards. It's important that you lean gradually, as larger foils need a few seconds to roll. Once the board rolls into a toeside lean, it will carve downwind quickly. As you start carving downwind, guide the wing higher, lifting with the leading hand. Be warned, as you turn fully downwind, the wind will seem to disappear or even reverse. Before the wind drops, you must completely depower the wing. Push the strut away with the trailing hand. You are trying to get the strut horizontal above your head. You can now swap leading hands while the board's nose turns towards the new direction. You can then place the new trailing hand. Ideally, this should be completed just as the board turns towards crosswind, as this is the moment you'll feel the wind come back. Let's look at that riding the other way. Good speed. Lean towards toeside, keeping the wing powered. As you carve downwind, raise the wing with the leading hand and push away the strut or boom with the trailing hand. Swap leading hands as the board's nose turns towards the new direction. Get the trailing hand engaged as the nose turns towards crosswind. The jibe might not seem too complicated, but there are several issues that can easily spoil it. A very common jibe spoiling mistake looks like this. As the rider turns fully downwind, the wing pushes down or flies back into them. This is caused by the apparent wind, which is the wind you actually feel. If you ride downwind at the speed of the true wind, the wind will seem to disappear. If you ride faster than the true wind, you will feel the wind reverse on you. At this point, if you have the trailing hand pulled in, the reversed wind will blow the wing down or into you. To handle this issue, just before you turn downwind, you must push out the trailing hand enough that the wing is almost horizontal above your head. You're aiming for almost zero angle of attack. Then, if the apparent wind is reversed, it can flow past your wing without pushing on it as much. Note, in strong wind you probably won't have this issue since the wind is moving faster than you're riding. If you release the trailing hand early enough, before the wind disappears, the wing should automatically level itself. If you're a bit late releasing the trailing hand, you may need to shove the strut away to get it close to horizontal and stop the trailing edge dropping on you. This reversing or disappearing wind only lasts while you're riding downwind. As soon as you turn crosswind in the new direction, you'll feel the wind return. How sharply you carve around the turn, therefore, is critical since this affects how long you spend going downwind. If you only roll the board slightly into a toeside lean, you will do a long downwind carve. You then spend longer riding downwind not getting pulled by your wing. You'll easily lose foiling speed during a longer downwind jibe. If you roll the board into a bit more of a toeside lean, you only ride downwind briefly and spend less time having issues with the wind. At the other extreme, you can carve too tightly. If you roll the board into too much of a toeside lean, you'll be able to balance at first while your speed is high, but if you lose a bit of speed, you'll drop off the board. Also, your foil's front wing is more likely to breach the surface with too much roll. If you are just above the minimum foiling speed, then during a jibe you will drop below the minimum foiling speed. That's why your initial speed must be significantly above the minimum foiling speed. Then you can afford to lose some speed and still be able to foil after the jibe. In very light wind it can be a challenge to get or keep enough speed. One thing that can help is keeping the wing powered as you initially turn downwind. When riding slightly downwind, there is less resistance from the foil and you haven't yet lost your apparent wind. This enables you to speed up during that initial downwind turn. Of course, you can't keep the trailing hand pulled in as you turn further downwind. Another thing to bear in mind in extremely light wind is your riding or foiling height. If you enter the jibe slightly higher and end the jibe slightly lower, then dropping a little height can definitely help maintain speed. Any back foot pressure, on the other hand, will make you climb and slow you down. It can be tempting to pressure the back foot, so consciously apply enough front foot pressure to fly level or drop slightly during the jibe. The toeside to heelside jibe works on the same principles. Ride in with enough speed that you can afford to lose some speed. Keep the wing powered initially as you shift the board into a heelside lean. Do this gradually as the board can take a moment to roll. Once the board rolls to a heelside lean, it will carve downwind. Before you turn too far downwind, get the wing above your head and then push away the strut with the trailing hand. You can now swap leading hands as you carve towards the new direction. Then place the new trailing hand just as you turn crosswind and you feel the wind return. Let's look at that riding the other way. One challenge with toeside to heelside jibes is that some people struggle to fully power the wing while riding toeside. To get power from your wing while in toeside, you really need to twist your upper body and pull back with the trailing arm significantly. This will allow you to get power from the wing and reach the speed you need to complete a jibe. If you struggle with toeside riding, you will need to work on that separately before jibing. The following steps will help you prepare for jibes. It helps if you're able to swap hands quickly. You can practice this on land, of course. Doing plenty of taxi jibes will also give you hand swap practice. From there you can attempt your first foiling jibes, and it's fine to do so with a bit less speed for safety. You will lose foiling speed of course and drop to a taxi, but these foil to taxi jibes are very good practice. After this, gradually ride in with a little more speed and it's possible to foil around the entire jibe. After jibing, from Heelside you exit in Toeside. From there you could maintain stance and then jibe from Toeside back into Heelside. In the long run, however, it's best if you learn to foot swap out of Toeside back to Heelside. This is easiest to practice if you first descend to a taxi. You then build up to foot swaps while foiling. Swapping stance, riding Toeside and many other skills are covered in separate tutorials. Access the playlist for the full series. Thanks for watching and good luck learning to jibe.